Do you keep saying that someday you'll feel confident enough to charge what you're worth, and yet someday never seems to come? Are you delivering deep style transformations to clients that you love, but still pricing like you're trying to figure this all out? Are you posting style tips and tricks instead of the thought leadership that you actually want to because you're afraid to take up space online? It is time to stop waiting for permission to own your expertise. Booked, Profitable, and Magnetic is my new private podcast that will show you how to step into your authority as a stylist once and for all. 8 episodes, $22. Link in the show notes. I'll see you there. Welcome to the Six Figure Personal Stylist Podcast, the ultimate no BS business podcast for ambitious personal stylists ready to build a six-figure and beyond personal styling business. You won't hear the typical snooze fest business advice that most personal stylists get told all of the time. Nope, instead I'll be sharing business building strategies that will help you create a killer personal brand, a cult following of loyal personal styling clients, and make a ton of cash while creating lasting style transformations for your clients. I'm Nicole Achi, your host and a former personal stylist of 14 years who built a lucrative styling business in 3 major cities, but only after spending years trying to crack the 6-figure styling business code without burning out. And now I'm here to tell you how to do exactly the same. Let's get into it. Today, I'm sitting down with someone whose story I have watched unfold from the very beginning. Asma Parvez started as one of the original modest fashion bloggers before most of the industry even existed. She went from anonymous blog posts to styling magazine covers in Austin, working with founders like Allison Ellsworth of Poppi, and becoming the go-to stylist for women stepping into serious visibility. Her perspective as a Muslim woman, a former blogger, a mother, and a founder herself makes her work both strategic and deeply grounded. I think you will find this conversation incredibly moving. You're going to hear what it really looks like to build a powerful styling business on your own terms. Enjoy. Welcome to the show, Awesome. I'm so happy you are here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I've been waiting for this for so long.
I have too, and it's finally here. All right, let's give the people what they want and start with how you got started as a stylist.
This is kind of a long journey. I started off as a fashion blogger back in the olden days when that was a thing. About 16 years ago, I started a blog called The Haute Muslima, and it was modest fashion, runway trends, a little bit about kids. I started it when my son was born, and I was like, I need to do something creative. And it kind of evolved into this really big thing. I ended up getting sponsors, working with brands. It was a huge thing.
Did you mean for it to get that big, or did it just happen?
I knew it was going to be big, and I was okay with it. And yeah, I was kind of like riding the flow and seeing what would happen. I stayed anonymous throughout, so no one knew who I was. I never showed my face. That was a thing.
Did you show outfits but not your face?
Correct.
Like you chopped off your head?
Yep.
Huh.
I know.
And you got sponsors.
Yeah, I got sponsors. My first sponsor was a hijab brand that is based out of Chicago. It's called Haute Hijab. They're amazing. That was my first sponsor, and it was $30 for a month, and it was a still ad on the blog. It was amazing. I was so excited, and evolved from there, and it got bigger. I started working with a magazine in the olden days. It was called Lucky Magazine.
Stop it. You worked with Lucky Magazine?
Yes, it was when bloggers were first popping up, and it was like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on their Lucky blogger list, and I was invited to all their events, and I was always in New York. I went to Fashion Week. It was like a really good time.
Wow, I had no idea. When did you start? And at this point, no face, nobody really knew who you were. When did you start styling people one-to-one?
My daughter was born, and when she was born with special needs. She was born deaf, and the way that she processes information is a little bit different. And so we had to figure out how to do this with her. We had to figure out what we needed, how I was going to parent and work at the same time, and I couldn't do it. And so I quit. I stopped blogging altogether, and that was a time when influencers started coming up, and it was a really big thing. This was 13 years ago. And I was like, this is a good time for me to step back anyway. I don't want to compete. I don't like this idea of competition. And I am just going to disappear anyway. And so let me just step back, a place where I'm like in a good place and I'm in a sort of like a high. So I stepped back and focused on my daughter and my son that I had as well. So my husband and I sort of like focused on that and just went all in, figuring everything out, all of her needs.
During the time when your daughter was little and you guys were focusing on her care,
Mhm.
what were you doing with style as like an outlet? Were you styling friends? Were you getting deeper into style? Tell me about how it looked in your life then.
I didn't really have an outlet at that point, and I hadn't started my business, and it wasn't even on the horizon. I had this little scrapbook that I had created that was called Styled by Asma, and I made it when she was young, and so that's sort of what I would do. I would think about what I wanted to do in the future and this dream that I had of styling a business. And I finally did it during COVID. It's when I actually started the business.
That's when you emailed me after listening to my podcast, and that's how we got connected. I was on maternity leave.
Yes.
So tell me about what was happening when you reached out to me.
I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. I decided I wanted to be a stylist, so I started my business. It was the beginnings of it, and I was researching style coaches and mentors and whatnot. Actually, I think it was Laurel Kinney, who I had reached out about mentoring, and so we did one session, and she also mentioned you, and I started listening to your podcast, and I'd write down everything you'd say, and I'd end up writing down, like, your entire podcast, and it was ridiculous. I was like, "Everything she's saying is pure gold." Like, everything you said was like pearls of wisdom dropping from your mouth, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is incredible." I was like, "I can't believe this is, like, free. This is insane."
And that was my styling pop. That was when I was talking to clients. Like I was a stylist then,
Yes.
right?
You were not
Yeah,
even
okay.
talking to other stylists. You were just talking to the
Okay.
clients, and it was just incredible. I learned so much from that. I reached out to you, and before you even started your, styling consultancy, I believe, I was like, "Would you consider mentoring me, or would you" Yeah, and you said, "Yeah," and it literally changed my life.
You were, I think, I was always working with Erin, but I think you were the first like new client that I had not had any other experience with through other programs. And I just had my daughter, and I remember getting the email. Oddly, I was like getting out of the shower and I was like getting on my pajamas and I saw the email, and it was like it felt like a sign because I wasn't sure about starting styling consultancy. And I was like, okay, Erin was telling me to do it, and then your email came through. And I really think of you and Erin as being like the people that helped me launch this business in so many ways.
I love that. I love being any part of any of your journey at all. It's an honor. You working with me opened up so much, and it made me think about my business in a whole different way. And what I really wanted to do, what was very important to me throughout the entire process of me starting my business, was that I wanted to do it well, and I wanted to do it professionally from day one. Because I have such severe ADD, I needed to have some structure, and I wanted to make sure that my business had structure, because if I was piecing it together, then I would be disorganized, therefore everything would be disorganized.
You really took it like serious from the beginning, and it was really cool. But I did not realize, honestly, that you had not been doing this on and off for since the blog. I thought that that was like always kind of in the background. It's like a business. I thought you had the business. So that's really, I didn't realize it. Wow, you if you started in 2020,
I think it was like 2021.
this business has grown. Well, okay. Wow. That's a lot that happened in not very much time. Then now that I know that. Okay, so we get you up and running. What were the sorts of folks that you were styling right away? Was it like anyone? You kind of came out the gate a little bit, I think, with a niche, no?
So it was my niche was Muslim woman. I really wanted to I feel like the world is very patriarchal anyway, and it's very man-centered, and I really want to help women. And so even now people are like, "Do you style men?" And I'm like, "Honestly, I could, but I don't want to. That's not where I want to put any of my energy." And so I really wanted Muslim women to be able to express themselves, but there was one woman in particular who had reached out to me, which started the catalyst for me starting my business. And she reached out to me. She found me on LinkedIn. I think she might have heard about me as a blogger, and asked me to help her figure out how to dress for her new job. I started styling her, and a few women, it was all working women, and they kind of just wanted to get back into the workplace, or they were in the workplace and they wanted to up level their wardrobe, or they had gotten a promotion and whatnot. So that's how I sort of started it out.
What was the biggest win in the beginning? Like, what was the biggest high they experienced? And what do you think the hardest part was? Going professional, like really doing it for real and charging people money.
I would say the biggest high was when someone actually paid me. I
Yeah.
actually charged a number that I was a little bit nervous about. I started off really, really low. And when Laurel mentored me, she was like, if you price your services that low, like you're basically going to be embarrassing stylists. She was like, you can't do that. Like, you're going to bring, if I price myself low, I bring the whole industry down.
Wow. I've never even used that line. Girl, that's something.
I mean, she was really nice. I'm just really blunt. Like, I'm obsessed with Laurel. I love her. Like, she's incredible.
She's amazing. Yeah, Laurel's
But
impressed.
like, just the way that she was sort of, she had to be blunt because I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I was really adamant. I was like, I'm not going to charge too much. I don't want to. I want to make this accessible for everybody. And I pushed it so hard. And I think she really had to just be like, hey, you can't do that. You really can't do that. You need to price yourself well accordingly and not underprice yourself just to be more palatable.
The first time somebody paid you, I'm really proud of Laurel for giving you that little pep talk. And then what I think all of us go into this like a little bit naive, right? Like we just
Yeah,
want to help people.
absolutely. We don't, I feel like most stylists, I don't really know now, but when I was starting out and everyone I spoke to, no one started off as a stylist like, oh my God, I'm going to make bank. Like, I want to be a stylist because I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's why I want to be a stylist. Like, nobody, that's not even a thing. Maybe now it is. But back then, it was very much like, I wanted to help people. I want to help people. I want them to feel their power and I want to help them get there.
Right. And there's often very little thought about how the stylist themselves is going to be in their own power.
None. There was no, I had no thoughts about myself and or anything like that. It wasn't even a thing until I started working with you. You opened up my eyes and it was like, okay, I am my business. I am a whole person. I am the CEO of my company. I need to learn how to work on my business and treat it like an actual business, not like a hobby. I feel like it feels hobbyish almost. And also, when you go out in the world and tell people that you're a stylist, they're like hairstylist or whatever. They don't know what it is anyway. When no one knows what you do, they don't really understand what you do. They're like, "Oh, cute. That's so cute, right? Your business, that's awesome. I love that for you," which is
You dress
amazing.
people.
What was that?
You play dress up. You
Yeah,
play dress up.
exactly. So to think of myself as a business, it really helped empower me, and that empowerment obviously empowers my clients.
People that are about to really step into their next level themselves want that modeled for them in the people that are guiding them. And we just don't think about it's not that anyone's doing anything wrong in the industry. They just don't think about that. Like it's not a legitimized yet profession. And I think these are all of the side effects of it being not as legitimate as, say, architects or interior designers.
Yeah.
You've had so many wins, so many public facing clients for a little while, and maybe still. And I'm not sure about this, but I know you've done a lot of photo shoots in Austin. Tell me a little bit about how you got that gig.
I was another stylist who was working in a magazine, and I would shadow her. Well, she hired me as an assistant, and she was ready to move on, and I was the perfect replacement. It was sort of organic in that way, but I did reach out. I am a reacher outer. I'd rather reach out and people say, oh no, that's not going to work, or, oh, turn me down, than not reach out at all. And that's a huge change from how I first started the business. I was a lot more, I've never been timid as a human being or a person, but when I started the business, it was a new thing for me. So I wasn't as confident personally in reaching out to people and knowing that people were going to hire me. It was always like, oh my God, surprise, they hired me. This is incredible. And now it's like, I'm turning down clients because I have to make sure that my clients and I are aligned and that I can help them. I can't help everybody. It's sort of like when I talk to you about working with you in a certain container and you're like, you could pay me all this money and we could do this, but what you really need is this. So it's the same thing when someone reaches out to me like, oh, I want to do this or I need this. And I'm like, I can absolutely help you do this part, but you're not there yet. Or you need to do this. And I know that I won't be able to help you in the way that you need help. And so I turn them down, or I direct them to different resources or different places instead.
That is such a powerful thing that you shared because so many people are afraid to do that and think that it means for some reason like they're not being an expert. But I say no, you got, especially my established clients, a lot, because
Yeah.
there's often a knee-jerk reaction to hire an expert or someone that you care about or trust because you want that validation. But if you want people to really become confident like you do, if you want to be a stand for your clients, they have to meet, like there's a point at which
Yeah.
they have to meet you halfway. And so the fact that you're willing to do that is so, so powerful. I'm so glad you shared that. So you work with, your niche is Muslim women, and you do work with a lot of them, but you very much work with lots of powerful women who are not Muslim.
Yeah.
Did it surprise you that non-Muslim women wanted to work with you? Did you think that the fact that you are clearly a Muslim woman that wears a hijab would mean that that would limit the clients you got?
100%. My biggest fear was that people would look at me and be like, oh, she chooses to dress modestly,
Mhm.
or she chooses to wear a hijab. She's not going to know how to style me as a regular schmegular person. Granted, I am a regular schmegular person. So that's what I was worried about. And so by styling women for magazine covers here in Austin, that changed the way that people perceived me, because they were like, oh, she can style this person, she can style that person. And they're on the cover of this magazine in Austin. And I styled covers for almost 2 years. And there were so many different women. And sometimes they would hire me after that as well. That's actually how I got started with Allison, was from that magazine cover. I was worried in the beginning about that. And I used to be worried even up until like a year and a half ago. And it still made me nervous about like, oh, is someone going to be like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing? Not anymore. I have zero nerves about someone hiring me as a Muslim. Like, I can do literally anything. I can style anybody. Like, this is something that I know I can do, and I am fully confident in my abilities to do so.
But you also have killer style. So it's not like it's not like you can't, yes, you wear a hijab, but I could see your clothes. It's not like you're completely hidden. So that's interesting that you had that fear. I knew that you had some fears, because we've talked about it over the years, around attracting women that were not Muslim, and also really did feel like your values and what you really wanted to do was champion Muslim women. And I think that there's nobody better to do that,
Yeah.
right? But you have such great personal style as it is, and no one should be hiring us for that. But like, it's a pretty good indication that you know what you're talking about.
I think it definitely helped, but I don't know what the norm is, but I wear the same clothes over and over and over again. I am not a big buyer of new pieces. I never get sucked into trends. It's really, I'm not sure why, but it's really easy for me to not be influenced by everything and everyone around me.
Yeah.
I'm very confident in how I want to be and how I want to dress and my values. And although I don't speak about this openly with clients or even in my marketing and branding, I love the idea of sustainability and being able to rewear the clothes that we have. And this is why the closet edit is actually a really big part of my journey and my packages for my clients. I know a lot of stylists don't love doing closet edits, but I really love doing them because I can find those pieces in their closet that we can reuse and continue to rewear. To be
Mhm.
honest, if I never looked in someone's closet and I got to start their wardrobe from scratch, that would be so much easier. But I love the idea of wearing things that we already own. Like, why invest in a new X if I already have that X or 7 versions of that X at home? So mixing and matching, buying new things when we need is something that I love to do.
Yeah, you are very, very solid as a person. That's kind of a weird compliment to give someone, but as someone who knows you really well, I think at this point, it doesn't surprise me at all that you have such a clear sense of style and that you're at a point now where you're so much more confident in, you understand how the business runs. So of course you're turning people away because you trust yourself. You trust yourself as a person. And I think that comes across very, very much. The more you become visible, the more you are showing up, that energy just sort of radiates from you, and it's very obvious. So I think the fact that you've always been so secure in yourself makes a lot of sense that you've attracted these like higher level public figures. One of them is Allison Ellsworth, who you've very publicly styled throughout her time at Poppi. She recently sold that company. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Working with her has been one of the coolest experiences that I've had. So it started off working with her through the magazine because the magazine put her on the cover. And so I was her stylist through that. No matter who someone is, where they are, in their journeys, I always want to help them. So I just asked, hey, do you have anything else you need styling for? Can I help you out with anything else? She's like, actually, I have these 3 events coming up. I have no idea what to wear. She had just had her baby like relatively recently. She asked me for outfits for 3 different events. And so what I did was when I was shopping for her cover looks, and for that magazine, it's 5 to 6 outfits for the magazine shoot. So 1 for the cover and then 4 or 5 for the article inside. And so while I was shopping for it, I also was shopping for these other events. One of them was in New York. They were launching, a Poppi lip gloss collab. And that's how I sort of got started with her.
You really did a lot of strategy with her. And
Yes.
it wasn't just like, yes, here's some outfits for this. Like, you truly do personal brand styling, which I think that not everybody gets. It's that conversation around you as the brand business owner within the business, but also you outside of it. And where is the overlap? And then where is there a place where the founder doesn't want the overlap for
Absolutely.
themselves is something you always got instinctually that I was always very impressed by and don't see a lot in the personal styling space for people that work with founders. It's really important. And so I'm not really surprised that she stayed with you for so long because you're amazing.
It wasn't even a conversation about necessarily like staying on brand. It was something that I instinctively knew had to happen.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think that's why we worked together for so long, is because I got it. And so a lot of it's really cool because a lot of the images that like the Fortune 500 or Inc. magazine uses is a lot of some of them are the ones that I styled her in. So it's really cool to see my work. It's literally all over the world right now. So I think that's really neat. And Allison, as a human being, is an amazing person. She has 3 boys. She's so real. And I think that's why we really clicked and we got to work together for so long. I also styled her husband, Steven. I don't style men, but in this case, it was for a wedding, an Indian wedding in Morocco. Their Shark Tank investor, Rahan Oza, was getting married, and I styled them for those events. And that was such a cool experience.
That was a lot of work. I remember that. What, if you could say, what percentage of women that you work with are Muslim versus not Muslim?
At this point, I would say half. Half are Muslim, half are not Muslim. And you're right, I did start this off, and that was going to be my niche, like Muslim women. But everyone keeps hiring me. Everyone keeps reaching out to me. And these are people and brands and humans that I align with on so many levels. I'm like, absolutely, I can see us working together. I feel it. Like, this is going to be good. And that's what's happening. And so now I'm styling mostly women founders and women who are starting their businesses or reaching out or looking for, funding for their businesses and whatnot. And then also just women who are going to work but have a new body or have a promotion, aren't sure how to dress for it, and so on. So I sort of do all of that, but it's all women.
When you work with non-Muslim women, what do you think they are most surprised by? What kinds of conversations do you have with them that are sort of mutual points of education because of your differences of faith and the way that you present?
I think now a lot of women that I work with, and when they hire me, they can see that I'm visibly Muslim and they know that. So they already have some sense of awareness of what that might look like or feel like. And they obviously trust me because they're hiring me and they've seen my work and they know that I can do the work. I would say that years ago, it would be like, oh my gosh, surprise, you speak English really well kind of thing, right? Yeah, literally someone said that to me last week. I wasn't offended. I don't get offended. Like, if you're coming from a rude place, I'm going to be like, oh, you're annoying. But
Right.
I'm not offended by these questions, especially when they come from people who are actually just wanting to learn more. They might not know how to phrase the question. It might come off as weird to someone else, but like, I'm good. I'm solid. We can talk. I'm chill. So there was this person who kept saying, but you speak really good English. And I was like, yeah, I was born and raised here. Like, you speak really good English. And I was like, my mom's actually white American. She was born in Florida. Her birth name is Bobby Joe. Um, and my dad is from Pakistan, since we're already on the topic. And so I grew up mixed already. Both of my parents are Muslim, but I have family members who are not. And I was raised here in an environment in the US, in an environment of a lot of acceptance. My mom
Mhm.
coming from like not being Muslim and then being Muslim, it just everything she taught me it's always like acceptance, love, kindness, respect. you give that to everybody, but also this is what we expect back. I've always expected kindness and respect back. And when I don't get it, I'm like, whoa, hold on, slow down. So a while ago, people might have been surprised by the English, but now everyone sort of gets it. Now the questions or what people don't know about me is like why I choose to cover, for example. And
Mhm.
I think they're a little bit cautious. Sometimes they think that a man has made my father or my husband has made me cover. And they're so nice because they don't want to be like, oh, a man made you cover and that's okay. Like, we're okay with them. Like, no, we're not okay with that. Like, nobody can choose. Nobody can tell me what to do, right? Like, that's how my mom is. She became Muslim. She covered her hair. She is very much like, nobody can tell her what to do. So that's how I was raised. Like, I do what I want to do. I do it because it's part of my faith, and this is what I believe. Some Muslim women choose to cover, some don't. It's their decision. That's the end of it.
It's really been amazing over the years to hear about some of the conversations you've had. You live in Austin, Texas, which is a pretty liberal place, and certainly has all sorts of folks. But you've had some interesting conversations over the years, and you've taught me a ton about the Muslim religion, and it's been really amazing to go from watching you feel like you would almost be like pigeonholed because of your faith to watching how actually it has been by putting yourself out there and by being on social media more, it has opened up the amount of people that actually want to work with you because you are just you and you happen to be Muslim, and that is not what you have to lead with. It doesn't mean that it's not part of your values or that you don't care
Yeah.
deeply for Muslim women, but it's been amazing to watch you be surprised by people meeting you and wanting you. And yeah, you happen to be Muslim. And the things you have taught them and the things that you bring to these conversations because of that. If you were talking to another stylist who was just starting and was Muslim and was nervous about, being public or being on social media because they're Muslim, what would you tell them?
That's becoming a rarity almost due to TikTok culture and social media in
Mhm.
general. Muslim women are whoever they want to be, and they are not afraid, I feel like, or nervous the same way that we used to be because
Mhm.
there's more representation now. However,
Mhm.
if there was a Muslim woman, there was a stylist who was Muslim, wanted to get started, was a little bit nervous about showcasing that faith, I would say that to this day, sometimes though, I feel like, am I too Muslim? Like, are people going to understand me and see me for who I am? And it is what it is. Like, I am Muslim. And also about, not to get super deep into religion, but like, there's the Bible, there's the Quran, there's the Torah, but about the Quran in particular, there is a verse in there that is something that Muslim people recite multiple times a day. And in it, it says, to you, your religion, and to me, mine. And it's so incredible because sure, become Muslim, but also, like, you're allowed you do you, and it's literally there, like, it's not for everybody. Everybody has their own thing, and so I think that's so empowering as a Muslim too, because what I want to do is I want to open people's eyes to what it is, like, who Muslims are, what our values are, and above all, it's that we're the same. Like, me and you, Nicole, are the same, right? You have a kid, you wanna make sure they eat their breakfast, they're not sleeping because 'cause they're whining, they gotta do their homework, you gotta get them to college at some point. It's like, these are all universal things. This isn't a Muslim, non-Muslim thing, right? So, I think that's the most important thing that I wanna put out there is that, yeah, we pray 5 times a day. Yes, that's a lot of praying, which just means that we have a lot of conviction. So, when I stand true to who I am in my style, in the way that I speak, and I'm strong in the way that I do everything that I do, it's also because I'm very full of conviction when it comes to my religion. I'm okay. I'm strong and I'm confident in it. Therefore, I'm confident in almost everything that I do.
Mm. It's interesting that you said, like, it never occurred to me that people would think that you were trying to convert them because I'm not religious, but so many other religions, important tenet of it is trying to convert people. So there's a lot of projection there, especially if we don't know what we're talking about. And so I'm really glad that you brought that up. And it makes a lot of sense to me that your faith informs who you are as a stylist and who you are as a woman. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like running your business with a special needs child and really being so dedicated to her
and also being fiercely dedicated to this business?
It means that sometimes the business is on the back burner, and that's
Mhm.
okay. It means that I'm not full-time, and it means that I may not make the amount of money that I want to make. I may not get there, but I'm okay with it because I'm making consistent income and I'm comfortable where I am. But even if there's times when I don't make anything, that has to be okay. I sometimes I have to focus on my family. I have a son and a daughter. My daughter's doing really, really well. She's doing fantastic, actually. I'm so grateful and I'm so excited and proud of her. And she's doing so well. And so things are actually okay right now. Even within that, I struggle with my own issues. Like I have really bad ADD. I struggled with a lot of depression after she was born. So I still navigate my own mental health issues, right? And so it's like
Mhm.
your family, yourself, your business. I want women to have it all, but I don't know if anybody can have it all, not just women. Like I don't know if anybody is meant to have every single thing. If you do, like that's amazing. And I love that for you. And I wish that for everybody. But there are times when I have to step back on my business and I don't take on new clients. There was actually a time I got really burnt out. It was last year. And I took a break for 4 months and I didn't take on any new clients. I was still working with the current clients that I had. I also have established clients that work with me. So if you've already worked with me before, you have access to this established client menu that only you have access to, so you can work with me in a different way than new clients can. And so I was working with the clients that I already had, but I wasn't taking on anybody else. And I was slowly petering off and like not renewing things with clients. I thought about the idea of working a real job and decided that there's no passion in there. I don't actually want to do it. I was just burnt out and I wanted to make easy money. And like getting X amount of money per hour just seems so much easier, even though it'd be so much less than what I make right now.
So much
But
less.
just it'd be easier because there's not a lot of commitment or mental energy on my
Well, just
part.
the mental energy of not knowing where a lot of your next income is coming from is a lot. But one of the things that I think is important to note about you saying, like, sometimes you have to step back and you don't take new clients is as someone who's navigated all of that with you over the years. I think that the important part of it was that you're able to do that and not completely lose the business because you started taking it professionally and seriously. So you have the strategy that allows you to keep people in your world and working. So you're not completely like either styling people or not styling people. You have established clients. So taking new clients not taking new clients is not the same thing as not having any clients. And that's something you've been able to do, which already, even if to you it's not full time, puts you in a category of stylist, as someone who sees hundreds of them, that is working more than the average stylist, even when you're stepping back to help to deal with your mental health or to deal with your, kid stuff or family stuff. And so that is why taking your little hobby business seriously actually helps everybody in your life sort of flourish.
Absolutely. I also know that this business has been so good for my mental health, my physical health, my family life, because I am doing something that I feel called to, that I'm passionate about, and I'm actually doing it. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not dreaming about it. I'm not scrapbooking about it. I'm actually doing it. And that is so amazing. I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that. And it gives me confidence and it gives me power and it's like something I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm doing today. I know what I have to do today. I know what I'm going to do and I know what I get to do today.
It's so powerful because so many women come to the conversation with me of like, well, I want to do this and I want to do it well, but I also can't, I'm also like not going to just not be a good mom, as if it's an either or when it's really just an ongoing dance. And we often just keep ourselves super small by thinking it's an either or when it's yes and it's both.
I think that's so important because you think that you can be a mom or you can work or you can do it all, but things have to give and it's constant. So I feel like some people might say, oh my gosh, Asma, she's made it. Like she's styling these big people, like she's doing great. But every day it's still, I'm going to work and I'm working, right? And I haven't made it. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever make it. Speaking from my experience now, me, Esma, like 4 years ago, would have been like, oh my God, she made it. If I knew what I was doing
Yeah.
now. Now that I'm here, I'm like, that's not how it is. Nobody makes it. Like, you continue constantly. You're honest. You're always working and you're always moving on to the next thing, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't end. So it's a constant cycle of give and take and balance and structure, raising your kids. There's seasons where, you'd be raising your kids more than you'd be working. And there's sometimes you're like working more and your kids are thriving in school and they don't really need you as much. And that's amazing too. But it's always a
Right.
give and take, and it's always a balance. It doesn't, you haven't just made it and you're done. You can't just
Yes.
coast
Thank
ride
you.
that wave. It's
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That someone else besides me gotta say that to everyone, because it is so easy to think when you make this amount of money, when you get this type of client, all of a sudden. But I also think the point of this too is you changed as a person, as you should be, as we all should be, as you had those successes. Like every time you do hit a goal, when you look back at like where you are now, and it's it changes you in the work. The work changes you, and
Mhm.
that's what changes your perception. And we can never you can never see the change in yourself when you're looking at the milestone. You only see the external thing. You don't see the internal shift that happens. And with you, that has been massive to watch, like just massive. It has been a privilege to watch. So now that you kind of had that period of burnout, which is so common, I see it so often with clients, you kind of came back on the scene, not like you went away, but I noticed, as someone that knows you well, that it seems like in the past 4 to 6 months, your visibility and your comfort with visibility has skyrocketed. Tell me a little bit about what happened and what shifted for you.
I think that time that I had taken off to focus on myself and my own needs and my family's needs, I almost came back stronger. I did come back stronger because I reiterated what I really wanted. Like, this is exactly what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And so I needed a break to think about it, ponder life, come back stronger than ever. And I feel like I am on the right track. I know that I'm on the right track. And because I know that I'm on the right track, I'm ready to sort of step into my own visibility. And this is something that I do for my clients all the time. So I help them step into their visibility. And now here I am stepping into my own. And what helped me was hiring a social media manager. She is absolutely incredible. And she does push me to do the things that I don't want to do. So getting on camera more, speaking more on camera, just being on camera in general. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't love it. I never loved it. But I do it. And I'm a lot more comfortable now because I feel that by getting on camera and talking and showing myself, I'm helping someone else. So when I come out of myself and it's less like I feel uncomfortable, I look a certain way or I feel a certain way today, and I put myself sort of back there and I'm like, I'm not on here for me. I'm on here for like all of us. So if I'm helping someone and I think about me being on camera and helping that person over there step into her visibility, then I feel more powerful and more empowered to continue to be on camera.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. It is so easy to think that we should need to feel inspired in order to do something or excited about it. But the truth is, it's once you do it and you notice, oh, look, I got on camera and I didn't feel so great about myself today and nobody unfollowed me or, the world did not explode and I
Yeah.
still have clients. You're like, wow, that was really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I agree. I think there's two ways to do it. One is like putting yourself sort of in the back and saying like, this is for others. And the other way is like putting yourself forward and saying, I'm doing this for me. And I know this is right for me. And I might not be touching people yet. I may not be affecting others yet, but I'm going to get there. So it's like, there's so many ways to think about the same thing and for all those
Mhm.
ways to be correct.
Absolutely. It has been so amazing to watch you step into yourself more, to let people hear your voice. Because whether you like it or not, you're actually excellent on camera. Because we think being excellent on camera means like we never make a mistake or like
Yes.
we always, that's not what it is. It's because you actually are the kind of person you are who you are no matter where you are.
Yes.
So, it- so people can feel that. And that's what most people are unable to do is
Yeah.
like, you're not masking.
No. I am myself no matter what. And sometimes I feel that my personality can be really big and I never want to offend someone or step on their toes. I also joke a lot and I'm I make jokes and I don't want to offend people. And so sometimes I get nervous about being my whole self. Thank God my friends and my people get me because I would have offended them so long ago they would have left.
I don't think, but the thing is, the energy with which we do things, people aren't dumb. They can feel it. And you are
Yes.
hilarious. Like, that's something I don't think a lot of people know. Your sense of humor is killer. People have no idea, I
Yeah.
think. And that's okay.
Top tier.
That can be a friends and family perk, you know?
Yeah, or like
But
a live perk because I've started doing workshops and stepping onto stage, and this is something that I always wanted to do. I also really want to start a podcast, but a part of me is afraid, and the other part of me wants to get it right. And so I'm sort of in the middle right now, and I will work on that. That's something we always need to work on something, right? Just because I'm powerful in the way
Yep.
that I think and the way that I move and my convictions doesn't mean I still don't second guess myself and I'm still like, "Oh, am I going to? Should I do that?" Right? So this is just so normal, right? And I will work through it. But becoming more visible, being on stage, having workshops, talking to women, this is really what I want to do. And it's not always something interesting that I've found out about the what I want to put out into the world is not that I only want to talk about style. It is really about how we perceive ourselves and the self that we want to put out there, and style is a conduit. It's a way to do that. It's not the only way, but it is a very powerful way. I want women to find their power, remember their power. It's always been there. People can take it away, but it's always there. Like we women have so much power. We're already empowered. I don't even if you're not even you don't have a stylist and you wear the same t-shirt and jeans every day, like that's up to you, but you could still be super empowered. I don't know. Like you do you, boo, right? If I'm here though, if you need me for that next step. But we have that power already. I just want to remind women that we have it and we need to get it and we need to bring it out into the world. That's really what I want to do. However that is, if it's through style, mindset, whatever it is. And by going on stage and speaking about it, I speak about all of it. And I really love that. My dream is to be like a TEDx speaker or something, but like to have this really good speech that I can like sort of do at different places. Like that's my next dream. But yeah.
We're gonna get there, no question. And that podcast, it's coming. So anyone out there that's like, "Oh, I hope she does it," let me just assure you, it's happening. It's just TBD when.
Yeah, I
It's
appreciate that.
happening.
I appreciate that.
It's done.
I appreciate you for believing in me
Always.
and for empowering me to empower myself. You did not give me power. I had it. You helped me find it within myself. And this is what I want to do for others.
Mhm.
I'm not here to give you empowerment. I'm not here to give you confidence. That comes from within. I'm here to help you find it, showcase it,
Practice it.
practice it. Yeah. Figure out how you want to show it to the world.
Yeah. It's such an amazing thing when you realize that in order to be transformational, you have to be willing to go through the transformation. And for stylists, it's often not the physical transformation that they give.
Yeah.
It's the internal one. And if I'm honest, when I look at people like you and Erin and the clients that I've worked with who I think of when I think of transformational stylists, like there's a Rolodex in my head of people. And it's not because of how they style. It's not because of how much money they make.
Yeah.
It's not because of how many followers they have or brand deals. It is because of the work that I know they have put in when no one was looking. Because otherwise you cannot be in the room with people who are experiencing the necessary discomfort of change.
Yeah. Because you haven't experienced it yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go through that. And it took me my own time and my own way, but I got there myself as well. But it was very hard. It wasn't easy for me to find my sense of purpose and step into it with confidence.
You always had it.
Yeah.
From our very first call.
Fair.
You had it. I see everything that we talked about 4 or 5 years ago now. But I also saw all the little things along the way that needed to be handled and grow you as a person to step into this. We only think of our business as like, oh, like I got to do this, this, and this. But sometimes there's lessons we need in our life if we have big purpose, that are going to come in other ways
Yeah.
to develop us. Because yours is a calling. without question.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, it has been such an honor. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It turns out that social proof is actually pretty important. So if you could help me out, I'd so appreciate it. If you just had a quick free moment and could leave me a rating or review on the podcast app, that would be killer. And even better, if you wanted to share this episode on Instagram and tag me, that would totally make my day. And it would bring so much more awareness to the podcast and would help other stylists just like you who are looking to build lucrative styling business, because the better each of us does, the better all of us do. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll chat with you next time.